Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Live Storytime. My name is Miss Mary, and I have some great books to share with you this week. As always, I wait a little bit for people to tune in, and always want to just give a couple of reminders that with the comments, please comment and say hello so that I can give you a shout out. And just be aware that there is a lag in the comments, in me seeing the comments. And unfortunately, last week, a couple of people left comments that I didn't see until after the story time. So I apologize about that. Hopefully that doesn't happen today. And also, if you do comment and I am, and I see it, but I'm reading a story, I always wait until I'm finished with a story before I give a shout out. So, okay, I see Laura and Sadie and Callie and a comment that says, "You're the best Miss Mary in the world." Wow. Thank you, girls. That is so sweet, Sadie. Thank you so much. I missed you last week, and I hope you have some fun questions for me this week. So, this week's theme is, and that's a good example of a comment showing up. So hopefully that is the case for the rest of the comments today. Please say hello if you've arrived. This week's theme is food and cooking. I got inspired by one of my favorite books and to read. I just love this book. I love reading it in-person story time because the children can always chime in it's a repetitive book. And it went from there. So it is food and cooking together and stuff like that. So before I begin, oh, I see Amy's comment this week. Thank God. Okay, good. I'm seeing comments again. That's a relief. Because I was so sad that I couldn't give shout outs last week. So hi Amy, hi Brian, good to see you. We want to know, Laura and Sadie and Callie want to know if I'm having a nice day and if I have ever had a Hatchimal before. I am having a lovely day and it's so beautiful outside. So after you listen to the stories, I suggest getting outside and enjoying that. And I don't know what a Hatchimal is, so maybe you could explain that in the next comment, and then I'll be able to tell you. I probably haven't had it if I don't know what it is, but I'd love to hear what it is. So let's get started. I'm going to start with one of, like, the one that I was just talking about. It's a classic story, and even though I can't hear you, I'm going to believe that you're going to make a doorbell sound with this book. So this is called The Doorbell Rang by Pat Hutchins. This is a good book about sharing too. Sneaky lesson in here. Okay, here we go. "I've made some cookies for tea," said Ma. "Good," said Victoria and Sam. "We're starving." "Share them between yourselves," said Ma. "I made plenty." Okay, so we see the plate of cookies. "That's 6 each," said Sam and Victoria. "They look as good as Grandma's," said Victoria. "They smell as good as Grandma's," said Sam. "Oh, no one makes cookies like Grandma," said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Okay, so this is what I'm going to ask you to do. Every time that doorbell rings, I want to hear ding dong, or I won't hear it, but I'll trust you're doing it. Ding dong. It was Tom and Hannah from next door. "Come on in," said Ma. "You can share the cookies." "That's 3 each," said Sam and Victoria. They smell as good as your Grandma's," said Tom. "And they look as good," said Hannah. "No one makes cookies like Grandma," said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Ding dong. It was Peter and his little brother. "Come in," said Ma. "You can share the cookies." "That's 2 cookies each," said Sam and Victoria. They look as good as your grandma's," said Peter, "and they smell as good." "Oh, nobody makes cookies like Grandma," said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Ding dong! It was Joy and Simon with their 4 cousins. Uh-oh. "Come in," said Ma. "You can share the cookies." "That's 1 each," said Sam and Victoria. They smell as good as your grandma's," said Joy. "And they look as good," said Simon. "No one makes cookies like Grandma," said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Ding dong! Oh, it sounds like Grandma's cookies are quite famous. Everyone seems to know about them. And it rang again. Ding dong! "Oh dear," said Ma, as the children stared at the cookies on their plates. "Perhaps you'd better eat them before we open the door." "We'll wait," said Sam. Okay. It was Grandma with an enormous tray of cookies. "How nice to have so many friends to share them with," said Grandma. "It's a good thing I made a lot." Oh, she did make a lot, filled the whole tray. "And no one makes cookies like Grandma," said Ma, as the doorbell rang. Ding dong! At least now they don't have to worry about having enough to share. So that is The Doorbell Rang. Just one of my favorites. I love hearing that in person story time, just because you hear all the children making the doorbell sound, and it's so cute. Okay. We just got home from the beach. What a perfect day for the beach, Laura. Oh my goodness, yes. A Hatchimal is a little doll with a stand and a purse and an animal in an egg. Wow, that's hard to imagine, so I'm going to look that up when I'm done. But that sounds really cool. That sounds really cool. I have not had one. So, okay. My next story today is called Pizza Day by Melissa Iwai. Now, this I really, really loved in a lot of ways, and I'll explain a little bit. They make their pizza from scratch, and it's just so cool. Here we go. Today is Pizza Day. I get to help Daddy in the garden. Caesar helps too. The seeds Daddy and I planted in the spring have turned into lots of vegetables and herbs. See him in the tomato plants. This is what we gather from our garden and bring into the house. 5 juicy red tomatoes plucked from the vine. 4 sprigs of basil pinched from the stalk. 3 small carrots pulled from the ground. 2 round onion bulbs dug up from the earth. 1 shiny green pepper clipped from the plant. We wash the vegetables and get ready to make pizza. First, we have to make the dough. Daddy measures the yeast, water, oil, salt, and flour, and we pour each one into a big bowl. I mix it all together with a wooden spoon. It turns into a big, sticky, squishy lump. Daddy dumps the dough onto a board. We both knead it with our hands. The big, squishy, sticky lump becomes smooth and shiny. Daddy says we have to let the dough rest for an hour so it can rise. We let it take a little nap while we start the tomato sauce. Sweet dreams, pizza dough, I whisper. Daddy chops the tomatoes and carrots and onions we brought in from the garden. It starts to smell yummy in our kitchen as the vegetables and herbs cook in the oil. The sauce needs to cook for a while so that the vegetables can soften. Now it's time for the sauce to take a little nap too. Sweet dreams, tomato sauce, I say. There are a lot of things to do outdoors while the dough and the sauce rest. We play catch, we slay some dragons, we wrestle a wild beast to the ground. Then it's time to finish making the pizza. Wake up, I say as I uncover the dough. It's grown twice as big. I get to punch it down. Wham! Daddy plops it onto a baking sheet and rolls it into a big circle. This will be the crust. Wake up, I shout again as Daddy uncovers the saucepan. The saucepan is thick and darker red now. We put it in the blender. I push the button. Whiz! The sauce wakes up. Now we can put together the pizza. Start by rolling out the dough. Add your sauce. Add some toppings. Green peppers, tomatoes, mushrooms. Add some cheese and finish. Then we set it in the oven and wait. That pizza looks good. While the pizza bakes, we put away our gardening tools and toys. We brush the wild beast and give him fresh water. Soon it's time to eat the pizza. Daddy takes it out of the oven and slices it into triangles. Oh my, that looks good. I put a few basil leaves on my slice and take a big bite. I love pizza day. And what I really loved about this book was that pizza has always felt intimidating to me to make from scratch like that. This book made it actually feel a little bit simpler. I'm sure it's still time consuming. You need to, have some patience. But this book made me feel like I could actually do this. So this is really cool. In the back of the book, it has everything you need to make your own garden pizza. It explains how to make your dough, how to make your sauce, and then all of the instructions for how to assemble your pizza. So what Miss Mary is going to do is make a copy of these 2 pages or take a picture with her phone, because I feel like this is a pizza recipe I can actually make. Feel like I can do this. So that is Pizza Day. And I love that story because it really showed all the work that goes into, they grew the vegetables for the pizza, and then they picked the vegetables, they cooked everything. Oh, it was such a cool process to watch. Oh no, Miss Mary, this is our last live story time for a long time. We have enjoyed these. We want to know if you like pizza. Well, girls, I am sad to hear that this is your last live story time for a while, but please, please always tune in whenever you can to the replay video. I'll miss your questions. Of course, I'll miss your questions, but please, tune in to the video that I post afterwards. I always share it in Patchogue Parents. It's on our YouTube channel, or on the library's Facebook page. So please tune into that. And yes, I love pizza. Now, my pizza wouldn't have cheese on it, or it would have vegan cheese because Miss Mary is vegan. But the rest of that, I looked at that recipe, and everything aside from the cheese was vegan. So Miss Mary is pretty excited to try that someday. And maybe I'll let you know in a future story time how it worked out for me. But yes, I do like pizza. Okay. Let's see. This is a new book I found in our collection Monday, I want to say. And this is called Teddy Spaghetti by Dorothea Benton Frank and Victoria Benton Frank. Okay, so Teddy Spaghetti. I wonder what kind of food he likes. Do you like spaghetti? Let me know. Teddy loved a lot about his life, but he really loved 3 simple things. He loved his shiny cape because it made him feel big and strong. He really loved his rain boots because when he wore him, Teddy could stomp through anything. But most of all, Teddy really, really, really loved spaghetti. Because, well, just because. He loved spaghetti so much, he wanted to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now, I like spaghetti, but I don't know if I like it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's a lot, Teddy. He would slurp it, twirl it, and gobble it up. He liked spaghetti with red sauce and meatballs, with white sauce and clams. How fancy. And even with eggs and bacon. All right. I guess that's how you make it a breakfast food. Teddy was a very happy boy, and today was a very important day. He was starting a new school. And as much as his shiny cape made him feel confident, he did feel a teensy tiny bit nervous. Good morning, Teddy. It's a big day. Are you ready for a big breakfast? Can I have spaghetti? Asked Teddy. Not today, my sweet boy, replied his mom. Oh, I think I'm feeling under the weather, said Teddy. You're going to be just fine, kiddo. I bet you'll have a new best friend by lunchtime. Teddy was not so sure. Mom, I don't feel so good. My elbow hurts. My leg hurts. I have a pain in my neck. My eyes are blurry. My tummy's sick. Maybe I have a fever. I might have appendicitis. I'm hot. I'm cold. My blood pressure's running through the roof. Oh, poor Teddy. Teddy, you'll be just fine. Just be your wonderful self and everyone will love you. Now, hand over your cape and let's get moving, said Mom. Teddy didn't feel great about handing over his trusted cape, but he did it anyway. He grabbed his lunchbox and headed out the door. He said goodbye to his mom and slowly walked up to the front of the school. Welcome, Teddy, said his new teacher, Ms. Basil. Are you ready to meet everyone? Ready as I'll ever be, said Teddy with a smile. Ms. Basil gathered the kids around. All right, everyone, can anyone tell us what they did over the summer? I finally learned to ride a two-wheeler. I got a baby sister. I went to the beach. Teddy said slowly, I ate a lot of spaghetti. You must really like spaghetti. What's your name? Asked the girl sitting next to him. I'm Theodore, but everyone calls me Teddy. And I don't just really like spaghetti. I love it, he said. Well, I'm Antonia, but everyone calls me Tony. And this is Petey. All right, so Tony and Petey seem really nice, right? Teddy was relieved that he had met some friends he could sit with at lunch. The new friends found a table together. Petey looked at his lunch and said, a jelly sandwich. This meal is uninspired. Tony said, baloney, baloney, always with the baloney. Ugh. Teddy opened his container and smiled. The smell of spaghetti made him think of home in a good way. Now, I never got spaghetti and meatballs in my school lunch. Just saying, Ma. How come I never got that? My mom tunes in sometimes, so I'm sure she'll answer my questions soon. Just then, he heard a loud, booming voice. Teddy Spaghetti! It was Brian the bully. Teddy forgot for a moment that he was the new kid and that Brian was much bigger than him. "Hey, what did you call me?" asked Teddy. Brian the bully spoke more slowly this time. "I called you Teddy Spaghetti." Teddy felt his heart sink. He wasn't sure what to say next. But he didn't need to say anything because his new friends spoke up. "Holy meatballs, that looks amazing! Cooked to perfection, al dente. That sauce looks scrumptious, mamma mia." Teddy told everyone to help themselves. There's plenty to go around. How sweet of him, right? Suddenly, it was quiet again. Teddy turned around to find Brian standing over him, but this time he didn't look quite so mean. Can I have some spaghetti?" he asked, almost in a whisper. Teddy thought for a moment. He looked up at Brian and smiled. "Sure, and you can call me Teddy Spaghetti because I actually like that name a lot. No, wait, I love that name almost as much as I love spaghetti." Everyone gathered around and enjoyed the spaghetti down to the last slurp. Even Brian. Way to turn it around, right, Teddy? That night, his mom said, "Teddy, I'm so glad you had a good day. What do you want for lunch tomorrow?" What do you think? Teddy knew the answer right away. Spaghetti with extra forks. How sweet that he made some new friends. He also ran into a little bit of a bully in Brian, who thought he was being clever with Teddy Spaghetti, which does rhyme. But Teddy turned it around and found a way to make a new friend with Brian. So I think that was really cool. And it was also good that Teddy's friends helped him out too. You know? So I think that was just a fun story. I've never had spaghetti for breakfast. Maybe he's onto something, though. Okay, we have some comments. Okay, we just went to Umberto's in Sayville, and they have vegan pizza. Yes, Amy, I know. That is so awesome. I actually, I've been there before, and they have a whole vegan menu, which is so great. I've had many things from it. Everything is tasty, and I also love their vegan garlic knots. So, yum. And they're next door to one of my favorite stores in the world, Cornucopia. For the locals, you'll know what that means. For anyone who's tuning in from not Long Island, you might not know, but Cornucopia is a great natural food store. And it's right next door to that tasty pizza place. Sadie wants to know if I like reading books. Oh my goodness. Yes, Sadie, I love reading books out loud. I love reading books on my own. I love, love, love sharing stories. So yes, I love reading books. Sadie says she doesn't like spaghetti, but she does like meatballs. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Sadie knew the answer on the last page, spaghetti. You guessed it, girl. You guessed it. Brian said he loves pizza too. Sorry, I read these a little bit out of order. Pizza's a good one, right, Brian? I have to agree. And then the most recent comment from Brian, he wants to clarify that he is not a bully. And you know what? It's funny. I was thinking of Brian, who tuned into Storytime this week, as I was reading that book, and I'm thinking to myself, I bet Brian's not a bully. I bet he's not. And you know what? Maybe it's because Brian had a different spelling in that book. So it's a totally different Brian, and I believe you, Brian. You are not a bully. I guarantee it. And I bet that you're even one of those kids who would like help Teddy out in that situation. So I was thinking that as I was reading the story. I'm like, oh, there's a character named Brian. Oh, but he's a bully. Okay. I think I have time for one more story today, and I had two more, but I think I'm gonna go with this one because it's a different kind of feel. It's new. One of my dear friends who works at another library actually brought this book in for me today because our copy is checked out. So I want to thank Miss Carrie for bringing this in for me. And this will be my last book of the day. I hope you're not too hungry after this food and cooking story time. This is called Our Little Kitchen by Jillian Tamaki. I just think this had a really cool story behind it. Hi. Hello? Every Wednesday we come together in this little kitchen. Hello, hello. Our little kitchen, a tiny small space, is just big enough to squeeze in and make space. Tie on your apron, roll up your sleeves, pans are out, the oven is hot, the kitchen's all ready. Where do we start? Let's look around and see what we've got, what we've grown, what we've kept, been given and bought. All we need is around us. We just need to look. Okay. See how our garden has grown? Remember how we pushed seeds into soil one by one? Tomatoes are ripe. I'll pick a few. The lettuce is holy. Bugs ate it through. That happens sometimes. These carrots, though, still seem so very small. Look at these zucchinis. Let's use them up too. I found some carrots just a week or two old. Half a celery, 10 radishes. Oh! Ooh, don't know what this is, but it's gotta go. Sometimes that happens. You forget what you have in the fridge sometimes. The bakery brought us some day-old loaves, a minute in the oven, maybe two, soft and warm, good as new. 3 bags of apples, some of them bruised. Cut off the brown bits, they're still good to use. A few sticks of butter, cinnamon sugar, oats from the cupboard, a sweet apple crumble. Beans from the food bank? 3rd week in a row, but it's what we've got. We'll use them somehow. Bean salad, bean soup, bean tacos, beef stew. I'm out of ideas. What about you? Our little kitchen's really cooking now. Listen to the delicious music we make. Sizzle, chop, 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 sprinkle. Slice, peel, splash. Mmm, 15 minutes. Here come the early birds. Grab your favorite seat. How is life treating you? How was your week? Good to see you. New haircut? Nice weather. It's all right. Fork, knife, and spoon. Now roll it up tight. 10 more minutes. And still so much to do. Behind you, watch out. Salad coming through. It's looking like we're having chili again. Those who don't cook don't get to complain. Well, it's not perfect, but it's the best I could do. 2 minutes left. Let's wrap it up, crew. Already, can't be. Where's the salt? Where's the cheese? Give me 1 minute. Just one more second, please. No, 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 no. Our neighbors are waiting. I mean it. Let's go. Okay, so they're digging into the chili and the salads, and they have the bread. The best sound in the world is slurp. Is your body warm? Is your belly full? Our little kitchen can't give us all that we need, but would you like seconds? Delicious as always. A kiss on the cheek. Have a nice evening. See you next week. Okay, time to clean up. So this, if you didn't pick up on it, this was the story of a community kitchen. And these volunteers all get together each week and make a bunch of things from the garden that they grow and things that are donated to them and things like that. And they make delicious meals for those in their community who are in need. And I just think what a great story of volunteers and how everything all comes together. I also thought it was important that they used everything that they were given. They found a way to use everything. Even if the apples had some brown spots, they just cut those away. Miss Mary actually does that too. If there is a brown spot and I'm using an apple in a recipe. And that is very true about day-old bread from the bakery. If you put a little bit, not a lot, a little bit of water on top of it and then put it in the oven for a few minutes, it comes out just as good as new. So I loved this story of just community and making use of everything that they were given. So just a fun story to share. Sadie says you made her hungry. I'm a little hungry too, Sadie. So thank you so much for tuning in to Storytime this week. I will miss you so much, girls, next week. So again, a reminder to please tune in to the replay video. And thank you so much, Amy and Brian, for also coming. And if anybody else was here, I'm sorry if I haven't seen your comments. I know that usually Sammy is here with his mom, Margie. If they are here and I haven't seen your comment, hello? If you're not here, I'm sure you're tuning in later. To Amelia and Rose, who sometimes tune in afterwards too. And yeah, I think that's everyone. So you're welcome for the stories and answers. Always fun to chat. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in this week. She says, I'm too hungry. I don't know. Better work on that, Mommy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I will be back next week with more stories to share. Don't know the theme yet. Thinking about it. And I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Enjoy that beautiful weather outside and have some fun. Stay safe and healthy. See you soon. Bye, everyone.